Welcome back. Well, she is probably the most powerful woman cabinet minister in Stephen Harper's government. He's a senator and former mastermind of many election Harper victories. Together, Doug and Diane Finley are Canada's parliamentary power couple. They probably won't like that designation, but they're here to talk about Valentine's Day. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you both coming on. Which came first, Diane, the political connection or the personal connection?
It happened the same day.
The same day?
The very same day.
Take us back to that.
Well, I was a summer student at Rolls-Royce Canada in Montreal, and Doug was my boss. And the very first day, we went out on a political lunch.
Okay.
And because he was, part of his job was government relations, and in those days, the Liberals were in power, and he was in aerospace, and the two were kind of a match, so.
Oh, you're the boss, dominating the poor staffer with your political leanings.
Well, and actually, no, it wasn't quite like that because she had been hired by my boss, who was the president, without me having met her. And he told me, he said, you know, I've hired somebody for you to work summer. Will you take good care of her? So I said, okay. And actual fact, I forgot all about it. The day that I was supposed to be introduced to her, she ended up sitting in the waiting room at Rolls-Royce for 4 hours before I remembered. And then I had to go to a lunch, so I took her to the lunch. Sometime later, after we decided to get married, and I said to the boss, we're going to get married. And he said, well, look, when I said take good care of her, I didn't mean that good care of her. So, you know, it's...
How many years ago was that, if you don't mind me asking?
The day we met 31 years ago, we just celebrated our 30th anniversary.
30th anniversary. I've seen the pictures of her on her wedding day. You're not worthy.
Oh, look, I've known that and been told that by countless people for 31 years.
And I also saw a lot of kilts and skirts. There was more. I don't think anyone didn't have their legs bared there at that wedding.
No, I think probably one of the few times in Ontario history, at least in those days, where the preacher, the bride, and the groom all wore skirts. Quite common now, but at least we had two sexes involved, you know what I mean?
How does it work? I mean, you're two are at the apex of the power pyramid and politics in Canada now. How does it work at home? Like, you talk politics around dinner tables or breakfast tables? Does he give you advice on what to do when scandals come calling and that sort of thing?
Well, we tend to run pretty parallel lives, but they're separate. Whether when he was at the party and doing the campaign stuff, I was dealing with policy issues. Those were very separate, but we still have a lot of the people in common or issues that might be coming up that are in the news that he's dealing with from one side and I'm dealing with from the other. So there is some overlap, but there's a lot of politics talk.
And what about you? Did she say to you how you should run the election campaigns when you were mapping them out?
No.
No?
No.
Never.
You know, the one thing we keep absolutely sacrosanct is what happens around the cabinet table, right? Because there's the confidentiality stuff. So we have to be very careful not to broach that. We tend to look at politics, our lives in politics, at it's a very human level. You know, it's not really policy, it's not really strategy or tactics. It's well, much the same as a husband and wife. You know, professionals would discuss their business and the people they have to deal with and interact with. So we keep it on that level.
This place kills a lot of marriages, though. I mean, I've seen people, some women say they come here to get away from marriages. What's the secret to keeping a marriage going in a place like this?
Travel a lot.
That's probably the wrong answer, isn't it?
Actually, no, it has a lot. It has a lot of merit. But then all our married life, one of us has been traveling a lot. Doug used to travel internationally, always from September till June. He managed to stay in Canada in the warm months, and then I was traveling quite a bit. So we're used to that, but I guess it's making it a priority.
Yeah.
How do you find time for each other? Because you're busy. I know you're very busy, and you're crazy busy. Do you have a ritual where you say, we have to have dinner on these nights together or on the weekends together?
Oh, quite often we're separate on the weekends. I have to stay here every second weekend for a little medical condition that I have. Diane has to go back to the writing, which she does frequently, so we don't even spend the weekends together. Maybe one out of every two. We don't have any kind of fixed times because we don't know when there's going to be votes or what there's going to be, you know, announcements or stuff. So I think the key is to maximize whatever time you have in a kind of al fresco way, you know, just decide what you're going to do. Right? It's just that simple.
Now you're fighting a tough medical condition. Has that brought you guys closer together, or how have you dealt with that in the context of a very busy marriage?
When I was first diagnosed with this, made it quite clear to Diane, and she agreed, that we would absolutely minimize the impact on what she did. And we've been very good at that. She's been absolutely fabulous through this whole thing. Certainly wouldn't have been able to do it otherwise. And has it brought us closer together? No, I don't think so. We've always been we are very close. We always have been.
It's very hardest on you too, I'm sure, as well. So, but it's all going well, and you're going to have many happy Valentine's Days together yet to come. What are you doing tonight?
We haven't got that far in our planning.
Parliamentary dining room upstairs. Come on.
Oh, probably this is an ordeal for me because my first time on television. Probably go home, and if it was the old me, I'd have a double scotch and go to bed.
Okay, that's a good plan. All right, thank you both for coming on. It's a very poignant story, and we appreciate it.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's it for Power Play. You're all caught up from Parliament Hill and beyond. Thanks for watching. We'll be back here live at this time on this channel tomorrow. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Don Martin. Goodbye.